Please welcome Dr. Jon Porman, Marine sports injury doctor, neurofrequency instructor, and legendary results coach.
This is our time.
Why, thank you.
No turning back.
My grandmother, Marietta Frick, was, well, a legendary woman. See, my grandma wasn't about sitting on the sidelines and watching life go by. No, my grandma was about jumping in with both feet and living life to its fullest. It was a cold winter night, 1988, when I arrived at my grandparents' house with 2 go-karts. See, my grandfather and I had always talked about owning go-karts and racing go-karts. And on this night, I knew that the Arctic winter conditions would not wipe away the smile from that little boy's face, the little boy being my grandfather. It wasn't long until my grandmother stood up and she said, "Tabor, get your arse out there and get on that go-kart. You and Johnny have been talking about it for years, and you need to go out there because I know you're both going to enjoy it." See, my grandma lived life. She was a woman of action. The very first time she laid eyes on my grandfather, she said to her best friend, "See that boy over there? I'm going to marry him someday." And she did. Oh, and she was only 13 years old. True story. My grandmother, Marietta Frick, was a legendary woman. If you've had the chance to meet my friend, my mentor, and a legendary woman, Sandra Yancey, all right. You'll understand why I use this phrase, the power of you. See, Sandra's powerful. I mean, Sandra's exactly the same whether she's on this stage, whether she's at home, whether she's working out. I mean, minus an eyelasher too. Sandra embodies the power of you in that phrase, lift as you climb. Lift as you climb. Lift as you climb is not a statement. It's a proclamation of the power within you. See, Sandra understands that the power within you is greater than you could ever imagine. And when you grasp that, you'll take yourself to new levels you've never imagined. Sandra Yancey lives a legendary life. Now, my best friend just happens to be my wife, Jon Porman. Now, you can't miss Jen because she's a huge woman. Honey, in your presence, you're a huge woman in your presence. So whether we're on our favorite hike, summiting one of our trails, or whether creating one of our legendary living retreats, she reminds me to focus on the little things in life, to have gratitude for all the things we have in our life. She inspires me to act, and think bigger. Big. My wife runs my clinic by herself. She takes care of our children by herself. She runs her own coaching practice by herself. She sets up our retreats by herself. She even keeps me in control by herself. What she's also taught me is that the more gratitude we have, the more we'll be able to be grateful for. The life is about little things and having gratitude. She helps me to focus on those things. And so when you think about all the small things in your life and you really grasp onto that, that's when life can be meaningful. I can tell you the secret of how we do it because we create amazing, legendary, incredible things on a daily basis. It's like this total awesomeness every day. You want to know how? Before we go to bed at night, we give gratitude for the things that have happened that day. No, you didn't think that was it, did you? We also give gratitude for the things that will transpire the following day. It's really interesting how that happens because almost invariably, that's exactly what happens the following day. See, my wife, Jon Porman, is a legendary woman. She lives a legendary life. So when you go to bed at night, you ought to think of this question. What's in your gratitude? It was February 15th, 1980. And we were called by the hospital to say my sister had been involved in another car accident. And so, like every other time, I went with my parents to the hospital to take my sister home. When we got there, we went down this long hallway that just seemed like it would never end. And we got into the room. It was unlike any room I'd ever seen before because it was the hospital's morgue. I mean, my life instantly collapsed. I thought we were there to take her home like every other time. And yet, no, we weren't. Several days later, at the viewing for my sister, I knew that my life would forever be transformed by this legendary soul I knew was my sister. This man, Jerry, comes walking up. He says, "You don't know me, but I knew your sister. Your sister had hope in me. She believed in me when I didn't have hope. I didn't believe in myself." She used to talk to him about a story, and the story revolved around donuts. See, my sister worked at Dunkin' Donuts. And she used to tell this guy, Jerry, you can either focus on what's missing in that donut, the donut hole, or you can focus on the donut that's in your hand. And he finished with, "I am no longer homeless because I focus on the donuts and not what's missing in my life." See, my sister, Cindy Porman, was a legendary woman. So just as we teach in our retreats, legendary living retreats, 1, passion. Follow your passion and get your arse out on the go-kart. 2, potential. What is your potential? Fulfill your potential. 3, power. Unleash the power that you have on a daily basis. 4, predict. Predict your future through gratitude in magnitude. And 5, priority. Make it your priority on a daily basis to focus on the donuts in your life. Thank you.
'Cause we're gonna be